All right, this is the member Zoom Hangout, March 10th, 2021, 1:08 p.m. And uh, we have uh, Gurinder, Ian, Gary, and myself on so far. Gurinder, you have an issue on staking, decentralization, user validation that we started before. You want
I mean, this is not a there's no specific to do. It's just general philosophical question about how the staking is being concentrated in a few hands.
Yeah, can you turn your camera on?
I'm not in a position to do that right now, but that's
okay. Because we usually, keep our cameras on when we're speaking in this meeting.
right.
It's proven to enhance the collective intelligence.
No, understood. But I'm antisocial. I'm sorry to say that. Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I understand you better when I can see you. I mean, to me, you're always beautiful. It doesn't matter.
Right. So going back to the point. So my overall. I mean, not just this is not an RChain issue, but overall larger staking issue, and just basically trying to make sure that how we keep the network not stakes not concentrated with few individuals or few entities, and make sure that's decentralized over across as many people as possible. That's one. And two is just on the RChain specific is just making sure the to run the RChain platform that you don't need a large outlay of capital to run the network for individual. So that way, it's that ideally I would like to see that I'm able to run a validator on a old laptop running in the back of the closet somewhere rather than having to host it on the cloud. So yeah, so I have a larger concerns.
But are you talking about a root on the root shard, or on some other shard having just a laptop and and the slow performance and perhaps slow bandwidth that would represent?
Right. I mean, I think we had the brief discussion on that other day as well, where the root shard needs to be all souped up, and I am not convinced of that necessarily, that even root shard needs to be on a souped up machines. But yeah,
I had brought up the issue of once half the machines have validated a block, they're really what reason do the slow machines have to even replay it? Because they know it's valid, it's finalized. It can't be changed. So they then I talked with Thomas Love later, and he reminded me that they have to replay it in order to get the new state of the machine updated. And what he was suggesting is that they're going to be doing something to provide just the state updates. So they won't really have to replay it, they'll just have to do the state updates. And that could enable slower machines to catch up instantly.
Right, but I think I don't know the detail, and I probably will talk to Thomas Love a little more about it. But I'm just curious, how does that even work? Because now you have to trust another validator, right? I mean, the whole idea was that everybody was validating and confirming transactions individually, not having
the idea
some other validators.
The idea is if more than 50% of the validators have validated the block, there's nothing you can do. If you do say something else, you're going to get slashed, because that block is finalized. It's already been decided.
Is it 50% or is it 67%?
All right, we consider it finalized with 50%, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Good question. I think it's 50%.
okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, regardless, I mean, what it is, I mean, I guess what I am trying to understand is like, that means that periodically, if 50% of the network says, hey, this is the way, then everybody else, the all other 49% have to trust it, which doesn't
Yeah. Well,
sound
maybe it's 67%, whatever percent it is.
right.
The flow validator can catch up if the state changes, if he can, if he knows how to change the state, he doesn't have to go through the replay of the execution. He can trust at some point he can trust the state changes because regardless of what he says, it's already finalized.
So I think I mean, right. I mean, that's one point of optimization, and we can think about what the side effects of that is. But just going back to the point that Ian raised about, is it on a root shard versus is it on the sub shard that maybe as 5 people or 50 people community have created. I am either way, I'm still my fundamental concern is just again concentration of stake and the percent of stake people are carrying. So I think maybe this is a conversation in the governance meeting rather than the members meeting, but it would be good to start thinking about that early on. For example, right now, one of my concern is the Ethereum and even Bitcoin. Large percent of the mining is being done in China, for example, right? So if Chinese government have some influence on those miners, then what happens to the network? Because if 60 to 70% are in China, what how does that work? I mean, does that mean network gets polluted by the influence that people may have, which is not what the rest of the world is looking at?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could limit the speed somehow but we don't want the whole network to run at the speed of the slowest processor, and that's the way it would be today.
Right. No, I'm not talking about this. I mean, slow. I mean, I guess there are two issues, separate issues. So let's just clarify. One is that again, concentration of staking in certain demographic, right? And the other is that because you want to sort of make it widely available, and you want anyone to be able to run, be able to stake and validate. You might want like a fast validators, but to run a fast validator, that means you have to outlay a substantial sum of capital, right? So for example, right now we're running our validators. I think our costs around maybe $800, $600, $700 a month right now. And I'm assuming as the network grows, I can see 2 or 3 times factor where you need to do that. So now
that's per validator.
No, there are 5 validators per node, so per host. So I mean it's right now there is not that much of a load, so we are able to do bunch them together, but down the road, for purposes of security, and all other factors, you want to run as many nodes as possible. And every time you run, node on a different host, you increase your costs, right? So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like what I was point though, I'm trying to raise is that we want to have validators which run on a light machines, so their one is cheaper to run, and so anybody can run it basically. I can outpay $30 a month on a host in the cloud or on my local machine, but I may not be able to afford $300 a month, especially if the returns are not coming back.
So perhaps we should run a members shard that's for slower processors. That's one thing we could, do cooperatively is run a shard that's just for slower processors, and they would be, proposing on slower processors, but they would, be they would still be able to post to mainnet eventually, which is another topic we were talking about how we do the remote proxies to channels on other shards. There's some stuff that isn't quite fully figured out yet, but there's a lot of ways we can do it. I don't know. Is there any other ideas? We just want to, find out how to get end user validators or distribute the stake. And is this something that we would do in the regular governance or the tech governance? Tech governance, I guess. So we should raise a topic of discussion, right? Raise TOD and go. Anything else?
I'm good, thanks.
Ian, what's you're thinking about with respect to co-op governance and jurisdiction?
Really getting into representative democracy versus direct democracy versus liquid democracy in an environment where we're making decisions over very complex areas of technology, economics, law, jurisdiction. These issues are sufficiently complex that voters should have a good idea of what they're voting for. And I'm not confident that an uneducated voter is going to, has the capacity to weigh in on those kinds of issues without attending some meetings and participating in some forums where there's more education and direct, deliberation over the matters, and that simply passing your vote to someone else or clicking on an emoji on a shiny picture, I think that would be disastrous to making decisions with this level of complexity. The other issue with the international jurisdiction is just that as the co-op takes on more members who are outside of the United States, it will happen that those who are outside of the United States are not as familiar with the laws under which the co-op has to operate as a US legal entity. And there will be conflict where, really the rules in China are quite different from the rules in the US or in Germany or wherever. And I'm sure down the line, it would make a lot more sense that jurisdictions have their own co-op entities that reflect those differences in rules. But we're going to run into conflicts where, the co-op is making some decision that appears to much of the world as being just, crazy or irresponsible, but where if they were more familiar with the complexities on the ground with the way the co-op is financed, or the state and federal laws that we're restricted by, they might see things differently.
Yeah. We were looking at doing a Tampa Bay RChain Co-op. Then we lost all our most of our members, right, Steve? And Steve got more involved with the co-op itself, the main co-op.
Yep.
And I think the governance, you know, I think co-op governance should be a bit different from governance of the network, of the technology, because the technology, you know, hopefully everyone is going to share across the world, but the governance of the cooperative, I think that's going to be different with every entity, because what it comes down to is, since we all live in countries where, you know, we're under someone else's jurisdiction, we can't just do whatever we want. There is accountability, and, you know, with the co-op, the accountability comes down to the board members and the officers, and it's unfair for, you know, people, say in Germany or wherever, to expect those board members to you know, to go to jail, to lose everything, whatever, for you know, to support changes that are illegal in their jurisdiction and where the co-op operates.
So has anybody looked at Enigma? Has anybody ever followed Enigma? And what has happened to them lately? I mean, I have not really. I mean, I followed them a few years ago when they initially came in into the market. These guys, I think there were a couple of guys from MIT got together, started Enigma, but then I had not followed them for the last few years, and just about a month ago looked at it again. They apparently dissolved their own entire I'm not sure if it's a corporation or if it's a what entity they had, and basically decided that it's going to be run through the chain. They created a new chain called Secret. They had to return all the ICO money. I think the SEC went after them, and they had to refund. But so they decided to dissolve Enigma, and future development and governance is being done on chain. So I think it's called Secret now. I was just wondering if anybody has looked at that at all.
You know, it's kind of a dream to have, you know, an ultimately unaccountable governance of a blockchain, and, you know, Bitcoin has come fairly close to that.
Right. So just curious if you looked at it a little bit deeper than you know me, to see what was really happening and how they structured it. So where you don't need to, you know, be worried about, you know, some jurisdiction.
Yeah. So I think you know, there's all kinds of issues about, you know, how we can do delegation, how we can employ a Byzantine fault tolerant trust metric, whether or not we have autonomy of every different group, like marketing, and each circle can have its own governance to a certain extent. But I guess that's really an internal matter. We have to look at the whole co-op also. We had a couple of people join. Do we have a topic? What you thinking about, Mark?
Oh, hello. Well, I mean, I've been sort of hanging around. I mean, mostly I've just, as I was posting in the ideas thing, I was just interested in what was happening with the what had happened with rsong from before and stuff because of the things I've been doing with imaging. So I'm just sort of thinking about some sort of stuff to do with creative industries and using the chain. So it's all very fluffy and stuff at the moment.
So you're interested in the music, or you worked on? You're familiar with? You were with?
Yes, I was working with Resonate
right?
back then, and we were doing the Creative Passport. So the idea of the digital identity for music makers, which we've just launched a version of. In a very, very traditional sort of web service. It's not because we just haven't sort of found the right, chain-based system which will work and which we can try and encourage existing members of the industry to sort of kind of use as well.
Right.
So I'm still connected with that. I've actually sort of like, I'm no longer CTO for the Creative Passport. I'm just the tech advisor because they're running out of money basically and need to stretch it on to actual developers who can just build the code. But we're now at a stage where I think we now need to get back to looking at how we'll do self-sovereign identity, how we can like attach rights to music objects and stuff, and under control of the artist. So
this is exactly what we're doing in the development of the governance, and we don't know. Right now it's liquid democracy, where if you don't vote, your delegate's vote counts twice. Okay.
Right.
So you don't have to vote on every issue, but you're counted in every issue because you select your delegates. But we can change it. I mean, it's flexible. We used the trust metric before, where the liquid democracy gives power from the bottom up. Okay, the trust metric gives power from the top down. So your vote can also be stronger if you're a board member. It's going to be the strongest. Okay, and then you can delegate. The board can delegate trust to other people, which acts as a multiplier on their vote. Before, people were giving out trust way too readily. We have to make people accountable for giving out trust.
Yes, I like that idea.
And in the where is it? We can. I have this liquid democracy participation experiment here, where we have we could when you come in here, the first thing you do is you make a new inbox for yourself. That's how we talk to each other, and you select testnet. Okay, and then you deploy. Okay, and you can play with the code if you want. You can see exactly what it's going to do and whether you agree with it or not. And then anyone can make a new issue, which is something to vote on.
It sounded like he was talking more about identity and storage and attribution of media assets, not governance.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess basically I'll cover the status. I'm covering the status of this a little bit first. You can create an issue. You can allow people to vote on it. You can do it, and we have the identity that we have is through the web addresses of the members. Gives them an identity, and then we have a directory where users can self-manage their own entity. If we when we make a new member, add a new member to the community, and well, you know, community could be the whole RChain. It could be just a work group. We'll make a collab community, an RChain member community, and you know, the central thing is their private key, which gives them an account. It could be that they can claim ownership of multiple accounts. I mean, there's a lot that isn't determined here, but I'm just saying this is where we're cooperatively developing the identity of the people in the cooperative, and that can be extended to supports the self-sovereign identity.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, you know, we probably should have an identity meeting each week, right, where people cooperate on identity. So, certainly, go ahead.
So it appears to be like one of the driving factors in a whole load of other tools is having some form of digital identifier through which to attach and, you know, claim attribution or stuff like that. So having some sort of mechanism there.
Right, and you know, what I'm looking at is bottom-up identity. So we belong to RChain. That's our bottom, so to speak. We've done KYC with them. They know we're a real person that has a picture, and you know, they've done a verification for us. So if we get a proof from RChain Co-op that I'm a member, they know, the person knows I'm a real person. I'm not a puppet. You know, because RChain has done this verification of me. And you know, I think this is the way. You know, not everybody could trust RChain. There are some people that say, I don't trust RChain, but also maybe my church and maybe my school also say that I'm a real person. Okay. And we build the strength of identity that way. And, the project that we're trying to get going, that we've been trying to get going in the collab, which is basically, you know, RChain members that have come in, is byoid.net, which is bring your own identity. And I guess I can, does anybody want to see the video now, or you'll see it on your own? It's not very long.
Yeah, sure. Let's check it out.
We all have many accounts on many systems.
Can you hear me? Let me share the screen again and make sure I choose check computer audio. There we go.
Each is an identity persona we create but may be controlled by others who have their own interests in mind and not our own. Our identity includes so much more than who we are on Twitter and Facebook. It includes all that is known about us. We can own our own identities, and the Bring Your Own Identity Cooperative aims to make that a reality by our cooperation. What if you could prove your identity once instead of to each site you visit? Or what if you could develop a trustworthy anonymous identity online that is good everywhere for all of your personal data? Or if you could manage your identity and other personal information resources yourself with proven privacy. Instead of using insecure email, chat, and social networks, everyone could use emerging decentralized social networking with proven security and privacy. Instead of a to list, you have a who needs to know and who's allowed to see. seeding new Boyd identities from whom permission will be requested if you want to share out each other's information resources. They then become Boyd cooperators, strengthening each other's identity. Strong anonymous, translucent identity with trusted integration is the goal of the cooperative, both trustworthy to be safe and opaque to protect personal privacy. Collaboration in our webs of trust on building strong pseudo-anonymous unique identities and reputation we trust for ourselves and our communities might enable enterprise and governance by consent. Boyd looks forward to reaching across the world to tackle the problem statement and looks forward to working with various projects and teams in order to advance technology and governance models, one chain at a time or within a parachain manner. It is the co-creation and self-sovereign tech stack supporting interoperable identities and decentralized applications with a well-rounded team of researchers, developers, advisors, and industry tech leaders. Boyd, bring your own identity. For more information, visit our website today.
That's the byoid.net. Oh, and what that there's the link here is to the Google document where you can comment and really make it anything. We can make it anything we want. Okay, because all the people that have been involved, nobody's active right now. So anyone who's active becomes a leader.
Oh, okay. I'll have a look at this.
And we actually have a little budget for BYOID, not a lot, but let's see, BYOID. What's BYOID? Well, we got 8,000 bucks worth of use here.
Nice.
And we got 20,000 rock, or well, that's 20,000 rev now.
Yeah.
Okay, we have our token on RChain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the log address is in there. Please fill in stuff. With,
Yeah.
RChain.net. Okay. Anything else on this topic?
Not from me at the moment.
Okay. So Gary,
There wasn't there a question about how rsong was storing data on chain and metadata?
I guess I missed it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Is that what you were asking about, Mark?
Originally back in the Discord channel, I was asking about where RChain was. I actually spoke with Daryl a few days back, and we just sort of spoke briefly about where RChain got to, and with that.
Oh, you mean rsong?
rsong, yeah.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
Well,
what was developed under the co-op was the RChain asset tracker, which is an open source system that makes large use of Kubernetes to host media on chain, but also to cache frequently used media in Kubernetes clusters that are closer, usually geographically closer to the users that most often request that media.
Mm-hmm.
And in the design of RChain, we have the concept of storage shards, or separate from the root shard of RChain, we might have networks of nodes that are dedicated more towards storage as opposed to offering compute capabilities. So, for instance, you might have a data center that wants to put its hardware offer its hardware to RChain, and is dedicated mostly to storage. And so that's how RChain would be able to scale and store large amounts of data, like media data, which is takes up a lot of storage.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So our YouTube might have a shard of its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. Yeah, because with Imogen, we did this stuff and we were talking with Resonate, but we ended up so we just focused initially on just the identity of the person, or sorry, not even the identity, but the creative persona of the person. So it could be attributed to objects, tracks, or whatever. The next stage, which we're now interested in looking at, is the whole associating with the works. If I create a track, how do I store? How can I possibly sort of look at do distribution myself? How do I attach rights to it and all that kind of thing? So that's kind of where the direction of travel for where Imogen and the Creative Passport are starting to go.
Leaning towards the work we were doing for art on the blockchain, which is
yeah, I mean, yeah. So as I said, I've been doing stuff with Imogen. She's a music maker. I mean, my background's more as a photographer, so I'm really interested in photography and stuff, and sort of especially more to do with a lot of the archival use of photography, because they're useful documents as well. So the idea of all these digital images going up there and probably sort of getting lost is actually more of a thing I'm not so keen on. 100 years from now, I can buy an old box of old photographs from 100 years ago, which shows something different. But 100 years from now, how do people see what was going on now? So I think there's some stuff there. So yeah, so Creative Passport's doing his thing, and because I was still, I was on the Discord, so I've now got some intellectual, as it were, free space to sort of think about some other things again. So I just sort of was like, okay, I want to sort of see what's happening here and see whether I can experiment with things which I don't have to sort of drag the whole Creative Passport team into. It's until it's ready.
I don't think we're ready to store media on RChain yet.
Yeah.
How soon that will be.
Well, we've done it before with rsong and RCat.
That's true.
But right now, the RCat repositories, they're accessible. I mean, anybody can fork and work with it, but we don't have the big Kubernetes clusters spun up right now. However, recently there's been a lot more interest and conversation about doing that, and even rehiring the principal developer who built out this RChain asset tracker.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So it could be quicker if we
It could be quicker.
take advantage of that architecture that's already been put together. Yeah.
Well, I'll have a poke around and investigate to what things are there and see if I can get my head around things.
Okay, Gary, I don't know if you can talk, but what was your thoughts on snarks, or you wanted to show us your screen?
No, I'll just wait to listen to Greg next hour. He's going to talk about zero knowledge proofs. Anyway, not this week, maybe next week.
All right. Finally, we have ICE 3. I mean, we have Rao and Gurinder and Bill Kunj, who's been doing gangbusters. He's working on in the governance area. Finally, some things are happening there pretty fast now that he's on board. And Tom Moulton, who is I invited to this call, is interested in resurrecting our ICE project, which was developed by the creator of the first chat, and is called by somebody famous, the great grandfather of all electronic mail systems, or whatever. So we developed this back in, you were there 78, 79, Tom?
77, yeah, 78 I started. That's when I was created.
Yeah, I started there in 74. But we're putting together the same team.
Yeah, I know, it's funny.
It's kind of fun. A lot of the ICE history is lost, but we did a lot of the groundbreaking leading research in collective intelligence and online group systems, the virtual classroom.
The infamous experiments.
Yeah, did a lot of formal experimentation. Which I can share a link, I guess, with some of the eyes there discovery. Let's see. I'll put this in the chat also. Well, this was the governance cost there, which really defines collective intelligence. It's what we were measuring in research. Can a group come up with a better solution to a problem than the best solution of an individual in that group? And so we it's called the fifth voice, or the ghost soprano. It's the other identity that comes out of the composite being that is manifest by the group. This was the result. This is current, pretty much, on collective intelligence best practices, which in the governance and norms of the co-op, we would like to have a collective intelligence, which is why I ask people to turn the cameras on, because without that, we're not going to have the collective intelligence. But well, it's suggested by the research. And then this page gives a lot of our findings from the ICE legacy. And I guess this link may go somewhere. No, it doesn't. I'll have to get a better link for the ICE legacy.
So what does ICE stand for?
Electronic Information Exchange System.
Thank you. Electronic Information Exchange System. Okay.
And when we started, the head of the computer science department said nobody would ever waste the power of a computer doing electronic mail. And Murray said, yeah, but this new mini computer technology makes it possible.
That computer still fills a room. But
So I guess, yeah, you have the link there. I'll let you go through this, but this is, we discovered a lot. And, you know, being there while it was happening, you know, we learned a lot more than was ever really published in the literature, although most of the basic ideas here have been published. I mean, there's some experiments that were done sort of on the side, and I did include some of those results here. Well, not on the side. I mean, there were certain, they only chose to run certain experiments. Some we just did with students, and those didn't count. So we didn't publish on the basis of having, you know, students as subjects.
Right.
But oh, I didn't have my screen share. Oh.
I thought so. I thought you thought it was.
Okay, well, you have the link.
It's not in the chat here.
Well, yes, it's in the Zoom chat. Okay, I'll just show you the picture there. Thing here. Well, this is about collective intelligence. It's about how we get value, exponential value, when we have connectivity, whereas we only get linear value increase with increase of number of people when we have a hierarchy. But that's still an aside. These are the successful patterns of decentralized organizations that have been shown. You know, looking at hundreds of communities, and the ones that succeed follow all these patterns in different ways. You know, there isn't a fixed way to do any of these things. But this was the I's legacy findings. Without structure, larger groups, the worse the decision. Well, we know that, but we discovered it first. No, it was already known. Up to 5 experts can improve a group decision. Isn't side research. It's of that day. I won't go over these. And then this is the collective intelligence best practices. And this was just the definition of getting better solutions from the group than you could from any of the individuals.
I love that whole concept of a ghost soprano.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The fifth voice.
I need to run as well.
All right, Tom, it's good to see you. Thanks for showing up, and definitely.
Yeah, I am very, you know, as you know,
this, you know, one of the things we need is a system monitor.
Great. That's the last job I want.
You know, Tom, for a while for a long time was a system monitor for eyes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the Al was a system monitor, and he just didn't do things fast enough, and I just took it over. But yeah, it was a dumb mistake. One of the best decisions I ever hated. But anyway, but one of the things I'm looking at is that, you know, a lot of these things I've heard mentioned here, discussed here, are concepts we've worked with 30 years ago.
Wow.
And I think the key piece, I think the whole thing is that the one reason why it makes sense that we're here in this environment is the fact that the whole idea of the chains and you know, all the signing and authentication of data is now possible on a distributed basis. That was not something we had before. And my motive for getting interested in getting eyes back is just the state, or the horrible state of our current social media. It's absolutely trash, because there's, you know, big tech is very bad. And so we need lots of little tech, not big tech.
Yeah. It's harmful.
So
Very harmful.
Anyway, I'll probably see you all again. And Jim, we'll talk more about this.
Yeah, back to your day job. When do you retire, Tom?
Yeah.
Nice meeting you, Thomas. That was cool.
I need to go too because it's dinner time here.
Yeah,
I'm being.
2 minutes, the debrief starts.
How is it? Oh, I'll have to miss that now. I'll get used to the schedule of what's going on with this.
You can actually see the debrief on YouTube if you go to the RChain YouTube channel. I'll hopefully have it up later today or tomorrow.
I'll do that as well.
Or the community calendar has the link to the Zoom.
Do that. All right. Anyway, nice to meet you all again.
Nice seeing you again, Mark.
See you again.
Bye,
See you
guys.
soon. Bye.
Bye.